So one thing I talk about all the time is all the people that I've been meeting in the fandom. But do I ever actually talk about them? That's why this week I want to make a video to talk about them. Everyone who has helped me as I joined the fandom. Everyone who has helped me get into this and over the past 10 weeks. And I just want to thank them all for helping making my transition into the fandom so easy. First of all, I mentioned before the Ethan Nestor video, but what really got me in the fandom was, of course, and I mention him all the time, Finn the Panther. He's a YouTuber. I absolutely love his videos about what a furry truly was. He's the reason that I finally drew out my persona, and it's his Discord server that put me in contact with a lot of these people. I don't think I would have joined the furry fandom had it not been for the Discord server of Finn the Panther. Have I actually got to talk to him? Not really. I'm one of his Patreons. He's replied to a couple of my comments. Would I like to meet him? Yes, absolutely. I would love to talk to him sometime and tell him how thankful I am. So here's to hoping that someday, nope, not even hoping, someday I will find a way to meet him. Whether it's at a con or telling him about a con. He did ask me to report back to him how Furpocalypse is. So that's going to be a great chance to maybe talk to him, tell him how it was, and maybe try to get him there. So two other people. I'm going to be making a video this week on Wolf Game, which was, well, I won't go into details here, but what I will tell you is that I met two people there. First one is called, their name is Arctic Fox. They are not a furry. They're actually in Australia like Orlando is. I'll talk about him soon. But they were just very helpful, Arctic Fox, getting me through some tough times in last year when I was having issues. They were a great person to talk to. I haven't talked to them in a while because they've been dealing with their own personal issues. I do try to reach out to them one at a time. That's the only non-furry I'm going to talk about. Another person from Wolf Game, who goes by the name Kishobu, turned out to be a furry. I felt like she was someone I could trust, so I reached out to her, and I told her I was entered the furry fandom. Her response, I'll never forget, welcome to the dark side. Her exact words, not mine. Anyway, she revealed she was a furry, and she did the art for my very first she did my very first art for Sunray. You saw it in the week 4 video. That's not my design anymore, but that was my original first art that she gave to me for free to get started in this fandom. So always be thankful that we do still talk. She's still playing Wolf Game, but you know, I still talk to her about furry stuff. So that's a great person to chat to. My first week, I talked about how I tried to make contact with the Rhode Island Furs. Now, I know a lot of their names, and I'm just terrible with names, but I can tell you I know the names Cirrus Skydragon and Longtooth. Longtooth was one of the people that I made first contact with that very first week, or second week rather, the second week that I was in the fandom. I made contact with them. They were the first, they and one of the other members was where I made first contact with a real life furry. I met them. I have actually seen them in their suit now. I saw them in the suit at the Furble, and that just a couple of days ago. So that was a great chance to see them in the first suit. But I had previously met them my second week of being a furry before my first unofficial event. That was the unofficial event that I hosted, but they had an art meet that I got to meet them at. The other one, Cirrus Skydragon, he is essentially the leader of the Rhode Island Furs. Doesn't have a fursuit, but I have met him several times. We met several weeks ago at a movie meet. We were at the ALS walk together. We've talked a bunch, and grateful to him. He was also my first contact for the Rhode Island Furs. I had to talk to him to get into the Telegram group, and he helped me out to kind of like break the silence that I was giving people and talk to people in the group, so that now I do talk to the Rhode Island Furs in the group. So, how about my first real friends? Photo shoot and Dasher the Dancing Dragon. They were people I met for my first photo shoot. Yes, that's his name. But it's because he loves taking photos. I can really tell that. I've had so many photo shoots with Photo Shoot. And I also actually initially met them week 3 before I even had the fursuit, along with Milky Way, another furry with a fursuit, that I met outside the suit first at a Dave & Buster's in Providence. And Milky Way or Dasher, I don't remember which one, it was one of them, patted me on the head for the first time, and I was not in a suit. That was literally the night I was going to get the suit, believe it or not. And I didn't mind it. So we became friends. I've hung out with Photo Shoot and Dasher several times. We go to the Roger Williams Park here, and it just really helped me like kind of break out, and I feel like they're the first actual friends I've made in the fandom, and they pop up on my TikTok too. But anyway, there are so many Rhode Island Fur members that I just don't remember the names of yet that I've met that was great to like meet at the Rhode Island Fur Bowl. Milky Way I remembered now because of the Fur Bowl a couple nights ago. When you see the fursuit videos, he is there. There were some other furs than in the Rhode Island Furs that I just kind of chat with in Telegram chat. I don't know if I met them. But why don't we go back to the Discord server for a second? I've met people named Prisma, Wasabian, Jet, and Claus in that Discord server, as well as someone named Dakota132. They are all the artists who have, after Tim Lake Cheetah, actually worked on my persona. They're working on full bodies for me. Whenever I post a full body or a ref sheet or something, they were the ones who got the first art of my persona. Some of them finished before Tim Lake Cheetah, and one of them I had like the yellow bands around my yellow wristbands, yellow feet bands. I sent Tim Lake Cheetah because he wasn't quite done yet, and I said, hey, can you make this little change? So, yeah, just thankful for that. They were all helped me work out what is my future design for now who I call Chance going to look like. Because I do think I'm going to keep this fursuit, keep him to be Shadow, and then have a second persona, Chance Moonray. I've got a whole story behind that. Like, reveal that he's like Shadow's brother or something like that. I'm still working on it. But that whole original design of mine is going to become my first custom fursuit. And that's thanks to them. Other people, there's Sinister, Enchanted, Shakpa, and someone named Shiori, who all helped me introduce me to the world of VR chat. Yeah. They showed me a lot of the furry worlds. Each of them had different worlds they go to. Some of them have worlds in common, like Fur Hub, and I found Furry Talking Show myself, actually. Some of them showed me like the spaceship. There's that big other furry, I don't know why I can't remember the name. I'm going to make a whole VR video about where I've been. And then Furry Karaoke, which you will actually find me in. Yeah, so I mentioned dance all the time, but singing, that's actually something I found. Really got to get back in the VR chat. But I've just had so many fursuit events, I haven't had a chance to hang out with them. But I will hang out with them. I still talk with them in the Discord server from time to time. And then there are, of course, the Patreons. As I mentioned, I'm a patron of Finn Panther, but there are other Patreons in the actual exclusive Patreon chat. Like someone named Anawubis, who is also a follower on TikTok. Someone named Waffles, who I talk to a lot. They are one of the people that I talk to like daily or every couple of days about being a furry. And then we're moving on now to one of the more interesting. I've talked about Discord, but what about Telegram? Well, I did say the wrote on first one on Telegram, but there's someone named Mike Wolf who helped me get into the Furpok chat. He's also the person that's going to be my point of contact when I volunteer at Furpok. He's the one who talked to me about volunteering at Furpok. He's the one who got me into the Furpocalypse chat, where I'm talking with other people. I also want to shout out to Tori, who is someone in the Connecticut group. I haven't met them yet. I did not meet them at the Connecticut Fur Bowl, but I think they're planning to go to the next one. They're going to be my roommate at Furpocalypse to help me kind of take on a little bit of the cost there. So that's going to be great. I'm sure we'll meet IRL before Furpocalypse. We're planning to, at least. Next, I gotta thank Trinity. She is from Heavenly Fluff Creations. I drove down to Connecticut to meet her. She's the one who adjusted my head. And I've met her a couple of times so far. She normally goes to the Fur Bowl. She'll be at the next one. If not, I know I'll see her at Furpocalypse too. And we still talk because, well, she gave me all sorts of advice, like what kind of brush I had to buy for my fursuit head. So I gotta thank her for that, especially since she made the adjustment that makes this head fit, so that I can even do these videos or walk around or go to fursuit events. Finally, there's Carbon, someone named Carbon. They're in the Discord server, but I did actually meet at the Connecticut Fur Bowl. So we have actually made contact, and we do talk over Discord, and we've met once at the Fur Bowl, and I'm planning to go back to the Connecticut Fur Bowl next month too, because as I said in week 9, it was kind of a rough time for me. So definitely going to go back, bring them the real me, bring them Shadow, and go there with like the confidence that I have in making these videos and had at the walk in next week. So going to be nice to meet Carbon again, this time as myself as Shadow. And speaking of Shadow, there's someone named White Shadow, as well as someone named Osiris. They're my mods. I want to thank them. They're my mods on TikTok, especially White Shadow, who helped me run essentially like tonight. I know White Shadow's ready to go for another live stream tonight. Osiris, we're walking out. I want to thank him for getting me started. I don't know if he's going to continue as a mod for me right now, but I know White Shadow is. I love talking to them. White Shadow over Telegram, and they always come on and help out with the TikTok streams. Really, TikTok has actually introduced me to a lot of people I'm talking about. There are 6 people in my fan club that I do talk to that I'm trying to get into, like a Telegram group that I'm making for my TikTok and YouTube followers and subscribers. Then I recently mentioned in the most recent video that I went to the Boston Furs. Well, I want to thank Drav, Toan, and I think his name is Chicken, the guy who wears the therapy dog vest and is like in a dog fursuit. And they all were great to walk around with, and they're part of the outdoors group that I joined. So to go to Boston and to get to meet them and walk around with them and make a fursuit, they also let me record. So I got a fursuit video out of that. So that was great. That was the second time I ever brought out the camera at a fursuiting event and got all sorts of videos of us fursuiting. So that's going to make a great video when that comes out. And finally, I mentioned him shortly in the other video, but I want to thank Orlando. That's his persona's name. He does reveal his real name to be Philip Britton on YouTube. Initially, I saw him on YouTube. I saw his popular Work Found Out I'm a Furry video. We started talking the Discord server because I realized he was in there. You know, who knows what the future is going to go with him, except I do know that he is coming to Anthem, New England from Australia, so I will get to meet him, along with one of the Discord members from, did I put his name on there? No, I did not, but from New Jersey. I'm going to get to meet one of the Discord members from New Jersey as well. And he even invited me to go to, this is insane, but he did invite me to go like Furdo out in Australia. Never say never, it could actually happen, you know. And even though I still got to work and probably want to have vacation by Anthem, New England, we're still going to try to meet up like after work outside because he'll be here for a while. So that's going to be great. And then we talk on Discord, of course. Still trying to see if we can do some sort of collaboration on YouTube. But he's just another person I've met in the furry fandom. So think about this. Think of all the people I've met in the furry fandom that maybe I haven't met them IRL, but I've talked to them a lot. I've come to understand them. A lot of them I will meet, like I said, like Mike Wolf, for example. He's going to be my supervisor when I volunteer at Furbox, so I'll definitely be meeting him. Some of them don't have fursuits, some of them do. Lots of them do, honestly. A lot of them are helping me with like the fursuit and stuff. But it's just like, and this is just the start. This is just over 10 weeks. How many more people am I going to meet? How many connections am I going to make? And how many are, like Photoshoot or Dasher, going to become IRL friends that I hang out with, that I talk to, that I meet essentially outside the suit? And like I said, I did meet Longtooth outside the suit. Some of the Rhode Island furs. A couple of days ago, we actually went out to Chili's after a Furble. That was more with Dasher's group. It's not New England Furs. I always say Furry Friends Worldwide. That's what it's called now. Furry Friends Worldwide. Yet another group where I get to talk to so many people. Like, Ivy was one of them. Ivy's one I missed. They were at the Fur Bowl. So you're going to see them in the Fur Bowl video that's coming up. It's just all this time just staying in cooped up by myself is finally broken by talking to all these people, by hanging out with several of these people, by becoming friends with a couple of these people. I've essentially proven to myself I can make friends. And they're furries. A lot of them, like Photoshoot and Dasher, I don't think they mind me telling them that they're autistic, so we have that to bond over too. Like similar challenges. And then it's just talking to all these people is helping me get even more invested into the furry fandom. So thanks to all of you. And as I said in my week 10 video, see you out there, fellow furries, especially you guys that I talked about in this video.